Ever have one of those moments, where your brain just like slams on the brakes?
Definitely.
You're looking at something new, maybe something tricky, and this little voice just pops up. Nope, not doing it. We've all felt that, right?
Absolutely. It's almost instinctual.
And we tend to label those feelings, the fear, the uncertainty, that I can't do this vibe as, well, weaknesses. But what if that's completely wrong? What if we're misreading the signals?
Well, it's such a natural pull, isn't it,
Okay.
towards, safety and what feels familiar.
Hmm.
Our brains are fundamentally survival machines. They're incredibly good at keeping us out of what they perceive as harm's way.
Right.
So discomfort, the unknown,
Mm.
that can definitely set off the alarm bells. Even when the danger is actually, well, maybe an opportunity. The brain's just doing its job, prioritizing keeping you safe, sometimes over, say, growing or learning something new.
Exactly. It's like this internal bodyguard who's maybe a bit too zealous, sees a shadow and yells, danger,
Mm.
when it's just, I don't know, a new possibility around the corner. But this core idea we've been digging into, it asks, could those really uncomfortable feelings, the stuff we call failure or feeling inadequate, could they actually be signposts? Hidden signals pointing towards our, like, biggest potential.
That's the really fascinating shift in perspective, isn't it? This idea that discomfort isn't necessarily a red light telling you to stop. Maybe it's more like an arrow pointing towards something significant you're about to encounter or learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just, wishful thinking. You see this thread popping up in neuroscience, insights from Nobel winners, even in like ancient Zen wisdom. It suggests there's something really fundamental here.
Okay, so let's maybe dive into the first big piece then, courage. We usually think of courage as, being fearless, the hero type, striding boldly, no sweat.
Right, the classic image.
But what if courage isn't about not having fear? What if it's something that actually gets, like, switched on by fear?
Precisely. And what's really cool is the biology behind it. When you deliberately step into something that feels vulnerable or uncertain, your brain actually releases this protein. It's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF for short.
BDNA, okay?
Think of BDNF as like miracle grow for your brain cells.
Mhm.
It helps them grow stronger, build new connections, basically rewire for resilience.
So hold on. That shaky feeling that, oh boy, I'm not sure I can actually do this moment, that's actually kicking off a biological process that makes your brain, well, tougher.
That's a great way to put it.
Leaning into the discomfort is like giving your brain a workout.
Yeah, exactly. That feeling of struggle is literally a signal that your brain is adapting, upgrading its software, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Think about a toddler learning to walk.
Okay.
They fall down constantly, like hundreds of times. But each tumble isn't really a failure in the way we think about it. It's essential data collection. It's building the neural pathways they need to eventually, run and jump. That initial wobbling and falling, that discomfort is absolutely crucial.
What?
It's your brain basically saying, okay, this is new territory. Let's build the capacity to handle it.
That completely reframes those moments where you feel like, ugh, I just can't. They're not roadblocks. They're more like the starting bell for a brain upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's courage. Now, another really powerful idea we looked at revolves around intelligence and that very familiar feeling of, well, feeling kind of stupid sometimes.
Yes. Feeling inadequate. This ties right into the whole concept of a growth mindset. The basic idea that intelligence isn't some fixed thing you're just born with.
Right.
It's something you can actually develop, through effort, through challenges. And that feeling of inadequacy when you're tackling something really new, that's often the sweet spot. That's where the growth is actually happening.
Yeah, it's like when you're wrestling with a really tough problem, maybe learning a new skill, and your brain just feels like sludge. It's knotted up.
Then there.
That feeling of, I am just not getting this, is so frustrating. But the insight here is that exact frustration, that feeling a bit lost or dumb, that might actually be the sensation of your brain physically changing, forming new connections, like dendrites literally growing.
Exactly. It's the feeling of mental construction.
Yeah.
They say if you looked at Einstein's early manuscripts, they were messy, full of crossings out, revisions, dead ends.
Really?
Yeah. Or think about someone like Oprah Winfrey, famously fired from an early TV news job because she was supposedly unfit for television. That apparent failure, that feeling of inadequacy she must have felt, it was a detour, not a dead end. It pushed her towards the path where she ultimately thrived.
Huh. So the struggle, the not getting it right away part, is actually crucial.
It's often essential. It's the willingness to kind of sit with that feeling of imperfection, of not knowing everything, that often leads to the breakthroughs. That initial discomfort is like dissolving the ego a bit, making space for actual learning. Someone once said, your ignorance is a blank check.
I like that. Your ignorance is a blank check.
Oh.
It's so counterintuitive, though. We spend so much energy trying not to look or feel stupid.
We do.
But this perspective says, no, lean into those moments where you feel your ignorance most sharply. That's where the potential is. It's like acknowledging I don't know is the first step to actually knowing.
Precisely. And this leads us nicely into another key piece, the idea of actively, even strategically, seeking out discomfort. Not just coping when it happens, but using it to build resilience for, well, the inevitable chaos of life.
Okay, now this sounds a bit intense. Are we talking about like masochism here?
Uh-huh. No, not at all. It's about strategic exposure. Think of it like emotional or mental strength training.
Oh, right. Like if you want to get better at handling the cold, you don't just hide inside forever. You might maybe take slightly cooler showers first, build up tolerance.
Exactly that. There's actual research, like a fascinating study from Yale looking at optimal anxiety. It suggests that intentionally putting yourself in situations that are just outside your comfort zone. Things like maybe having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or trying a new skill that feels intimidating, volunteering for a presentation, or even physical stuff like, cold plunges or intense exercise. Doing that can actually increase your tolerance for stress and uncertainty across the board.
So you're building a kind of buffer, a resilience muscle.
Pretty much. It's like you're practicing dealing with manageable chaos, so when the big unexpected storms hit, you're less likely to get completely overwhelmed.
So it's not about living in constant stress. It's about these like controlled doses of difficulty, pushing the boundaries just a little regularly. Like training for a marathon, you don't just show up and run 26 miles.
Perfect analogy.
You build up endurance through smaller, challenging runs first.
Exactly. By intentionally engaging with that manageable discomfort, you become, well, less fragile, more adaptable. There's that great line, something like, you don't heal wounds by hiding from knives. It's about becoming the surgeon, in a way. Developing the skill, the inner fortitude to handle life's difficulties when they show up.
Okay, so if we sort of pull all these threads together, it really seems like these feelings we try so hard to run from, the fear, the confusion, that sense of not being good enough, they aren't necessarily stop signs. They might actually be powerful indicators that we're on the edge of growth, that our brains are physically adapting, and that we're building the very resilience we need to, well, thrive.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental reframing.
It's like these uncomfortable moments are actually ingredients in the recipe for a stronger, more capable you.
That's it. Instead of seeing struggle as proof of failure, recognize it as an opportunity. Maybe even proof of growth and progress. Every time you push through that discomfort, you're not just solving a problem, you're literally building a stronger foundation for whatever comes next, like adding a stitch to your armor, as you said.
Yeah, like every tear in your plan becomes a stitch in your armor. Or maybe every I can't is like your soul's bat signal calling forth strength you didn't know you had.
I like that. And it reminds me of kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer.
Oh, yeah, beautiful stuff.
Right. The idea is that the piece is more beautiful, more valuable because it was broken and repaired. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted. Maybe the world needs your cracks because, well, gold only sticks to broken places.
Wow, that's powerful. So the message for you listening is, when you feel that discomfort, that uncertainty, that little voice saying retreat, remember that your brain might just be trying to protect you with, well, maybe a little bit of a lie.
A well-intentioned lie, perhaps.
Well-intentioned lie. And maybe you can challenge that lie, just whisper or even shout, watch me.
Yeah. It makes me think of what the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, the obstacle is the way.
The obstacles is the way, not in the way.
Exactly. Don't just go around it, go through it. That's where the transformation happens.
So if you're ready to maybe stop negotiating quite so much with fear, if these ideas resonate,
Then keep exploring this. Lean into it.
yeah, definitely share this deep dive if you know someone who might need this perspective shift. And make sure you're following along for more insights like this, because honestly, the most dangerous risk sometimes is just staying the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about becoming, anti-fragile, not just resilient, but actually getting stronger through the chaos, like a lion finding its roar in the midst of the storm.
Anti-fragile. Love that. Remember that uncomfortable paths can lead to incredible places. Thanks for diving in with us.